I ended up editing TikToks for Gary.
Did you just want to do all-encompassing film stuff? Did you want to get into comedy specifically? When this is the first time that you heard the name GaryVee?
I saw him on Hot Ones 2019, 2020. I was seeing him on TikTok a lot. Then I started working for him in 2020.
VeeFam, what's up? I'm Rob, Mr. Messer, back for another episode of the VeeFam Sessions, and I'm so pumped to have 1:37 p.m.'s own comedian, musician, and creator of VeeFriends, Sean Millea, on VeeFam Sessions. Sean, how are you, bud?
I'm doing great. Good to be here. How you doing, Rob?
I'm fantastic. Enjoying summer as we kick it up here. This is like I'm in the heat of a season 2 for this podcast, and really excited to have you on. As we met at VeeCon, and I told you I'd been admiring you from afar. I will get into it, but you had me healed over with all of your content and bits at VeeCon 1 in 22, and then I started following you on IG. I didn't even know you were on TikTok till recently, but all your stuff on IG, all your great bits. So really cool to jam. And I'm an amateur. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I'm a huge stand-up comedy fan, ever since I was a kid. So real cool.
Oh.
So if you don't mind, before we get into all the present day stuff, of just to go back and give us a little context on who you are and how you grew up.
Sure. I'm from Jersey. I grew up there my whole life, Jersey Shore area. Went to NYU for film school. That was like in college. And then after like a few jobs that never stuck, I ended up editing TikToks for Gary, editing his TikToks. And then I did that for like 3 months and decided that I didn't really want to do it. And just because it was like a lot of editing videos of him being like, quit your job, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I probably should. And so basically told him that. He thought it was funny or whatever, but he was like, same day had the idea to move me to 137, which was unrelated to me even quitting. He's like, oh, I think you'll be a lot happier there. And I was like, because I can make content that's more, with me, for me, etc. And did that for 2 years. And then more recently have moved over to the PAC team at VaynerMedia. But just got into comedy as well while in college, doing stand-up, trying to make that work, and content of my own, and just grinding it out over here, trying to make things something happen.
I love that. Well, that's a pretty big jump. Let's go back to how you grew up, Jersey Shore, Northeast kid. Were you a funny kid? Were you a class clown type?
Yeah, I knew how to make the class laugh growing up. I was like pretty much since like 3rd grade, I feel like, or maybe even 2nd, I do remember like making kids laugh. What else was it? And then 5th grade, I did, like it says in my yearbook, like I wanted to be a comedian, which is pretty neat. It was like the career choice. It also said impressions, which I suck at impressions, so that part didn't pan out at all. But always been somewhat pretty funny. And then I won class clown in high school, so I guess that kind of some proof, I guess.
So the writing was on the wall early on.
A little bit, yeah. But I also liked science and thought about doing that. I don't know. If not for the going to film school and getting in, I do wonder, because I only applied to one school. I don't know where I'd be today, but I'm happy with it, so that's good.
You only applied to Tisch, and it's for those that aren't familiar with the landscape, Tisch is no joke. NYU school.
Well, to be fair, it was early decision, but I guess I found out in like February. I didn't really apply much else. Yeah, I think I might have had a chance to apply somewhere else, but yes, that was the only place I applied to. I just wanted to go there so bad since like 8th grade. I went and visited, and I was like, oh, this is sick. Like I love the city, which I'm still here, and then loved just like so much of the alumni that have come out of NYU I like look up to, so just like knew I wanted to go there.
And what were your aspirations, in that decision? What did you just want to do, all-encompassing film stuff? Did you want to get into comedy specifically? What were your
I think it was film. I wanted to do comedy, film, TV. I still find myself not knowing which one I want to like pursue full time, and but it was like kind of like all three things. Like I looked up to like Louis and the show Louis, especially like something about that sort of like TV show that's like also about his life and doing stand up and stuff. That was always so cool to me, but it's always been all over the place. I'm still figuring it out.
As am I, as
Yeah, I
most
guess as
people.
is everybody.
So cool, and yeah, I'm a big Lily guy. So let's pivot a little bit. When is the first time that you heard the name Gary V?
I saw him on Hot Ones, like probably, what was that? Junior year of college. So that would be like 2017,
Okay,
2018. Yeah.
and then
And I didn't, that wasn't like I remember being like, this guy's speaking. Like, I remember he gave me anxiety because I'm like, yeah, he's right. But like, it just, whatever he said was speaking to me at the time. But then I didn't really start seeing him again until, I don't know, probably like 2019, 2020. I was seeing him on TikTok a lot. And then I started working for him in 2020, I think.
and talk to us about how that transpired.
Sure. So, pandemic, I was making TikToks and I was getting a following, but then the pandemic hits. I was kind of bummed about a girl at the time and stopped making stuff for me and just like applied through LinkedIn. Or they might have even reached out because I applied once before and didn't hear back. I forget. But eventually May hit me up and she was like, "Oh, we need TikTok editors." And I was like, "All right." And it was like remote work, and it was like the summer, I think. And so I started editing Gary's TikToks then. And then, yeah, just got to know him from there.
Cool. And thinking back, that's when he was like TikTok heavy, like 18,
Yeah.
19. I remember.
I had some viral TikToks on Gary's page that I edited, but none of like the greatest hits. I just like I would like edit some stuff that would get a million views, but it was like old stuff that I repurposed.
Uh-huh. Anything that you recall off the dome right
Uh,
now?
yeah, there was my friend's song was the background, and so that was exciting. But it was like 17 things for 17-year-olds or something like that. I wonder if I could find it. 17 things for 17-year-olds. Gary V. But it was my friend's song. I was so pumped to like, I don't see it. Oh, actually, this is it. I could say this is the YouTube re-upload, so it's not viral on this, but I'll send it to you later. And you could.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I'd love to stitch it in there. I mean, 1 mill's no joke. And so you had a following at the time that kind of gave you a leg up in the interview process that put you on the radar. And you're at over 600, 700,000 followers. Is
I
that
think it's like 740. I've been kind of like
okay?
slowing down on TikTok. Not like I just haven't had like anything do that great as of recently, but yeah, 740 I think or something like that. It's kind of weird. It just feels like video game numbers. Like it doesn't feel like anything. Which I mean, I'm grateful, but I'm like, oh shit. Like I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Right. So is it something that you still, I mean, I don't know when did you first start your Instagram like posting funny content or content for the purpose of building an audience and putting things out that people would
Well,
enjoy?
once Reels started, for sure. I was posting my TikToks. I think it was 2019. There was no Reels yet, so it was like I'd post my TikToks there, and it wouldn't get past my followers. But like actually growing on Instagram, I would say whenever Reels started, so probably like 2020. Yeah.
Okay. What humor me for a second because, a lot of people strive, apply and apply and apply and put together these crazy projects, do anything to get into the team's attention, into their perspective or, desk, whatever. What was it like working in that ecosystem? What did it feel like you were leveling up just because you were in that sphere, that vortex of the Gary Vee and Vayner, or were you just kind of doing your thing and it was just an everyday job?
For sure, a little of both, because I did, and still look up to Gary, so it was cool, like getting to talk to him and stuff like that. But it's still a job in that I'm just editing TikToks, and it's cool to see them go viral, and I'm learning stuff about editing, and I'm also consuming Gary content, so I'm like getting some cool perspectives on stuff he said, so that's interesting. Never like it wasn't like I guess I got a little desensitized to it after a while. But also, I think what happened too was it was like the height of the pandemic, so like it's all from home. So it was a little depressing at the time because I'm like living with my folks, and like I can't go out, and so my job is just sitting at a computer. I talk to people a few times a day on Zoom. So like the magic of like the office in New York is not there with it. But now I'm in the office a lot, and it's really cool. It's I'm getting to do some cool things, meet cool people, and it's certainly exciting now. And that's not to say I wasn't like grateful or like stoked at the time, but there was just like certain parts of what makes it so special were definitely, like many things in life, limited by the pandemic.
And that's a real interesting point, especially with someone like, younger, living in the city, working in the city, like that could be a huge, I mean, everyone's got their own season story and it affected people,
Right.
negatively for the most part in many ways. But yeah, I totally see how that could be a deterrent for thriving. Your pivot to 137. So you mentioned that you came and you weren't loving just the editing things. You wanted to, it sounds like, have just more creative duties and tasks. So when did you pivot to 137?
So that was like 3 months after. So I think it must have been 2020, like December. Gary like helped me move over, and I just started making content for them. But that was 2020. So I went from December of 2020 to like last month. So, or wait, would that be? Yeah, that makes sense because I'll be 3 years at Vayner in September.
Awesome. So sometime during the course of your time there, early on, in comes this thing called VeeFriends. Did you have any idea of, were you into crypto? Did you know about NFTs prior to this, or did you just learn as everyone was learning with the community and as Gary
Sure.
was rolling out and pumping it?
I mean, the second Gary started talking about NFTs, 137 was, and also I follow him, so I was seeing it too. I didn't know any earlier than anybody else that like follows him, but I definitely was like inundated with it right away, where I'm like, okay, we're talking a lot about these NFT things or whatever. But yeah, so I found out whenever it kicked off.
And did you drink the juice like everyone else? Were you into it? Were you
Uh,
like, I'm gonna do
I
this
bought some,
thing?
I bought like there's VB. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
I bought some of that, and that was crazy because that's probably the most I've seen. Or like that, I could have bought stuff that like really went up, but I did make like probably 5 grand or 10 grand on stuff. I bought like $100 or $200 worth of stuff on. Moon cats, I got two for free. I got it. I only paid gas fees. It was like $50. I paid gas fees like $50, and then those I sold for like 1,000 each. I didn't really
Nice.
get into like the NFT culture. I just kind of like bought some shit. Like Ari says, this is gonna be big, and then needed the money for New York apartment and rent, and just like sold them at like a pretty good height. But I wouldn't say I was drinking the juice.
So 137, I just want to rattle off a couple of your just gems. And I
Sure.
know, and if you're listening and you don't follow Sean, like you have to, TikTok, and I'll link it up. TikTok, Instagram. I noticed you're not huge on Twitter, but that's
Yeah.
just native to what the kind of content you produce, and that's okay.
Yeah, my Twitter is
So
loud.
a couple of my favorites, and this is totally selfish, just totally subjective.
Go
So we
ahead.
have a bit where you were it. I think, I don't know if you were scalping tickets or just promoting a comedy show, and
Oh
people are
yeah.
walking by and someone and you're like, Pete Davidson, and then this chick is like, what? And you're like, he's not going to be here.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we have lying on a dating show, and I'm gonna pin all of these up because they need to be heard. Lying on a dating show, which was epic. Scared straight on Zoom, and then a couple that I'd love to talk about.
Hell yeah.
Year-end reviews at 1:37 p.m.
Oh,
was
that one, I forgot about that one.
pure gold. Tell us about that before we talk about the Beeple.
The year-end reviews, it was actually, I think, Emily Lorimer's idea, and she just wanted me to give it the year-end reviews. I was like, I'll try, and I just like said whatever I thought when they came in, and they edited it pretty funny, but yeah, I think it kind of bombed, but it's also like nobody knows or nobody really knew who was in the video and stuff, but yeah, they were just like, yeah, just try and review people and let's see what happens. I was like, all right. So it's cool that you liked it. I didn't know that people watched it, to be honest with you.
So you didn't have a plan or script or anything. You just kind of went with it.
Yeah, I
Totally
think I
ad
might
lib.
have had like a few questions to ask, but like beyond that, not really. Just kind of like went with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm in a very niche spot because A, I'm a like a Vayner geek and I kind of know my stuff, and B, I was doing some freelance work with 137 p.m. So
Okay.
I did know the characters in there, not very well, but I knew their names and I understood the dynamic. So uh, super funny, and to know that you didn't really prep at all makes it even better.
That's
So stealing the million dollar art theft is so good. And I'm not going to do it justice, but essentially you create a scheme to have people draw something and then sign it. So talk to us about how that transpired and went down.
Yeah, so he was coming to like our office for a documentary we made about him, and then I think somebody said I have to make a TikTok with him at some point, and I'm like, okay, I don't really know what to do, and I said to Boyd, I was like, oh, it'd be funny if I just like, did this, like, was like, oh, can I show you a magic trick, and made him draw a stick figure so I could just have a piece of art by him, because he's like, the second or third biggest artist, or like most selling artist or whatever, so. Boyd laughed at that. I was like, all right, I'll just do that. And so I walked up to him with a piece of paper and I was like, hey, can I show you a magic trick? He was like, oh, sure. Draws a stick figure and I walk away with it. And he laughed. He thought it was funny. So got to make a video out of that. That one went pretty viral, but then I spoke to him at VeeCon, or I knew I was going to be seeing him because I'd have to interview a bunch of the speakers. And I had like hatched the plan to get him to sign it by just like making him sign a release form, like a content release form, and cutting out the signature section. And then the other thing was I wanted a new photo, so I said I was playing a game with all the speakers, like we're gonna play Hangman. And then I lost on purpose, so I got another stick figure from him. But the content release form in the video, it looks like he signs it, but in reality, he said he's not gonna sign it. Then I trick him with the stick figure. He gets the joke, laughs, and then I'm like, okay, well, here's what the content release form was. And then he thought it was so funny. He's like, I'll sign it. And then so in the video, I only have a minute, so I just make it look like he signs it out the gate. But yeah, that was how I tricked him.
That's amazing, and it doesn't surprise me because he actually lives very close to here, and he opened a studio down the road from where I live actually. So I go to all of his events, and he's got an amazing sense of humor, and
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
he's got Elon Musk. He's really really authentic masks of Elon Musk and Kim Jong Un and Mark Zuckerberg, and they just walk around his studio at all of these events. People that are he hires to look like them. And every 18 minutes or so, these again for hire fake security guards come and arrest like Mark Zuckerberg and take him out. And it's like this whole big thing, and it's hilarious because like these like women that don't know anything about Web3 or art, or like they're just appalled by like what the hell is happening here. Um, but he's got that kind of sense of humor, so I it doesn't surprise me how he jives with that.
Yeah, and he tweeted the first one with like laughing emojis, but the second video that went way more viral, I don't know, he's never commented on or anything. I mean, all the comments were saying how cool he was for taking it and laughing and stuff, but never don't know how he feels about the second one. I was like, oh, I thought maybe he'd share that one. But he laughed at the video, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Do you like in your process, are you like this is funny, like I like this one, and regardless of how it does with metrics or analytics or whatever, it is what it is? Or do you kind of put your weight into how it does with the market?
The second one for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I care too much and I'm not as like it's for me as I should be. I feel that
Mm.
way about some things I feel like, but for the most part if it's performing bad, I'm like this must suck and then I feel like shit.
How do you do that the same way, just by laughs and by the feeling in the room when you're performing live on stage?
I mean for that, yeah, it's all about the laughs and stuff. But like but content online it's like obviously, I guess either how it does algorithmically, but first I'll show it to friends to try and get a genuine reaction from them, and then it's like from there it's like, okay, how did it do on the algorithm?
So I'm gonna take another step back on the timeline here. Let's go back to VeeCon 1. So you get, I mean, you don't need to share your bags or your transactions, but did you have a pulse on what was happening in VeeFriends land, leading up, when everything was crazy in 21, leading up to VeeCon 1 and 22?
No, I was like buying crypto at the time, and Gary was saying to buy VeeFriends to like his audience, and I was like 2 grand, like sorry Gary, but I'm gonna buy crypto with this, and I bought no VeeFriends, like so I had no idea. I just got to go to VeeCon as an employee.
And so your job there, I mean, in your words, just a few minutes ago, you said to interview people. Did you have any direction, or you had free reign to do whatever you wanted with those interviews?
Yeah, they said it was like content for 137 and for VeeFriends, and so it was just like interview the speakers before they speak. Beyond that, it wasn't much. I ran my questions by like Sanan and stuff, but for the most part, it was like do whatever. So I had a lot of like safety questions and then some fun stuff to try and like mine something out of.
I mean, in my head, thinking back, I don't remember any of the safety ones. I just remember cracking up, and I remember specifically the Sean friends. And usually on this podcast, I read back and quote tweets of my guests, but this is the first time ever. This is a historic moment. I'm going to read one of my tweets. So this is true, on May 23rd, 2022, I tweeted out, anyone of at VeeFriends know who Sean is from Sean Friends. I would love to invest in some of those original art sketches. And then I put zig when they zag. So essentially, from what I remember the bit, and I please elaborate and give the proper context, but from what I remember, you made up your own like pseudo like second rate store brand VeeFriend characters and would ask the guests, is this a VeeFriend or a Sean friend?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think I started with like a quiz where it was like, just is it a VeeFriend or not? But then afterwards, I would try and be like, all right, well, those were actually Sean friends. You could buy them on OpenSea. I really had them on OpenSea. But then I think I took them down because I was like, or they're still up there, maybe. I don't know. I just kind of was like, it feels like it was funny at first, and then I'm like, I don't know. I'm selling NFTs. I don't know. It's hard to
At
explain.
VeeCon.
Yeah, yeah, but it was funny though because like they really were NFTs, and some of them were like it's funny too because like some it was like Rare Robot's wife, and then one was just Arm. Then there was some that I didn't even like show on camera anymore. Like I remember interviewing like Steve Aoki, and like one of the Sean friends was like Steve Aoki's consciousness because I wanted to like talk about him making he wants to be immortal or something. But like he just didn't get the joke, and I didn't deliver it well because I was nervous. So like some Sean friends never made the cut. But yeah, it was fun just like spoofing all of his different characters.
They are on OpenSea. I just looked.
Okay, they still are there? I wasn't even sure to be honest.
So we have Beta Baboon, Hateful Hamster, Ignorant Walrus, Incel Iguana, Rare Robot's Wife, Simp Salamander, Nympho Nathan, Invisible Man, which is one of my favorites right now.
Because there's nothing there, right?
Yep, Steve Buscemi, the man who cost 15,000 to look at, Unreliable Rat, and Arm.
Hell yes. I wonder, are any owned by anybody else? I think somebody bought one.
Someone did buy one, and I'm gonna buy one. Not right this second, but
All right, I
yeah.
think I gotta like, yeah, I have to list it.
Nympho Nathan, yes, please list them.
Or if you
Yes,
send me an offer for like the cheapest amount, I'll give it to you. I don't care.
this is amazing. My goal right now, one of my goals is to have Sean Friends sell out. There's
That
only
would be
13,
sick.
but I mean, it's VCon 1. It really,
It's part of the what's that word? The canon.
yeah. So, I mean, with that, what are your, not that there's anything wrong with this because you're doing your own thing. You're not like day to day in the Discord. You're not you don't know exactly what's happening with VeeFriends. You're just kind of working in the ecosystem. You're going to this big thing, and like there was promo like pump up videos, but like no one really knew what this thing was going to be. What were your thoughts going in, and like what were your thoughts while you were there in May
Um,
2022?
I honestly I wasn't sure. I was just more nervous for the interviews, but I thought it was gonna be like a cool like having seen Gary's like conference speeches before. I was like, all right, it's gonna be like a lot of like talks on stages. I kind of figured out what it would be before we got there. I guess I was surprised by like walking on the field and walking through the stadium, which was really cool. I didn't really have too many expectations, but I was also nervous because I was like just given a list of celebrities, and they're like, you're gonna talk to them. And like, I did not talk to all of them by far, but that was mostly what was on my mind.
Who was surprisingly the kindest slash coolest out of the bunch?
Interesting. Oh, Kevin Smith.
Oh, okay. That makes
Uh,
sense.
I think. Wait, let me see something. Yeah, Kevin Smith and who else? Liam Payne.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I saw you had Young Gravy on. I know you did something with him. I don't know if it was a podcast or a 137 thing.
yeah. It
There's
was a
definitely some
137
content.
pod.
Okay.
Yeah, it was back in November or October. I interviewed him for 137, or maybe no, actually, maybe it was almost a year ago now. Yeah, I guess it was. My cat is like freaking out. Yeah, like I think it was a year ago, but I interviewed him like because he was just stopping by the office to talk with Gary, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to do his pod that I had just been starting up?" And he was like, "Yeah, why not?" And he was like my biggest guest, and then I did like maybe 10 friends after that and then stopped doing that pod. But yeah, I did interview him, which was pretty neat.
And I have to say, I know I'm bouncing all over the place. What you did with the logo for Sean Friends, you just spray painted the S over
Yeah,
the
yeah.
V and did a red X over the black cat. Just epic. Yeah, this is a project. We're revitalizing, we're reviving
I
the Sean
wanted
Friends project.
I just wanted it to be as lazy as possible, and I was like trying to make like I think I wrote like yeah, these NFTs come with zero perks. Like I was like I'm not gonna be in the Discord, like there will be no Discord, like you are just giving me money.
That's amazing. So you're at 137 content. I'm curious if any part of that job description of creating content for 137 has affected you on stage in your personal comedy routine or vice versa.
Some I've gotten bits through talking to people at 137, and they were always like, "Oh, you can post stand-up content, like film at like." If anything, it was like it was almost too freeing, where it was like do whatever, and then I'm like I didn't know what to make, and it could even be stand-up stuff. So I would focus on like the wrong parts of stand-up to make a video. I feel like. And that was, nobody's fault or anything like that. But I think that's probably maybe one thing. But it also helped me leverage opportunities a lot of the time. So it was like it's kind of hard to say, but I got better at making videos. So I think that is overall was a huge, benefit for even stand up.
Mm-mm. What is I know the stereotypical answers to this, but I'm curious from you in the context of you and your life and your situation. What is the most difficult part of getting up on that stage and doing a set?
Just the fear of being embarrassed or like saying something and them not laughing and then feeling like I don't know, like it's just embarrassing. It's not really much more words to it, I guess. Yeah, just the fear of people judging you and you like thinking you're going to be funny and not being funny.
And give or take, how many shows have you done?
Oh, that's hard to say.
Or how many years since your first appearance?
First was in college, so that was 2015. Actually, high school was the first time I got on stage, but only the past year. No, actually, it'll be 2 years in October that I've been doing it consistently, like every day. But the first time was in high school, and I did it for a year in college, but like on and off. But like actually putting effort in the past 2 years.
And how many days a week? Did you say every day?
Not every day. There was like for the first year it was like trying to do at least once a day, but 4 to 5 now a week.
Wow. I would have to think one of the most, public speaking is the, number one fear of so many people. Like I think that's a real stat. But to go up on stage when it's just you, a microphone in the audience, and like make them feel this emotion that for many it's so hard to feel. You have to break down so many barriers. You're talking to such a wide variety of people with different issues, with different personalities. Like that's got to be one of the most difficult things I think in the world. Plus, to everything you just said, internally it's got to be, man, riveting. I mean, talk about VeeFriends and all of the characters and like mixed in with some Gary content. Like, man, what a recipe for breaking through and up leveling yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you get used to it for sure, like definitely, but it's hard at first. But, you get up in front of people enough times and it starts to, like anything else in life, you get desensitized to the feeling. And so you kind of like get used to it. That doesn't mean it doesn't hurt when you bomb, because that still hurts. But the fear, just because you're there, doesn't stay.
Do you have any of those Garyisms that kind of bounce around your head that you keep and hold on to for those moments?
Not necessarily. Garyisms, definitely there's times where they'll pop into my head and I'll know what he would say about something. But there's no, in regards to stand up, there's nothing that comes to mind. I mean, obviously, don't care what people think about you and stuff like that, but nothing too stand up related recently.
I know you mentioned Louis, who's a legend, but
Of
are
course.
there what other influences do you have or comedians that you look up to?
Bill Burr's great. Shane Gillis more recently is really funny. Mark Norman's awesome. Childish Gambino and Bo Burnham are like two people I think are really cool. Like less stand up, but more like artistic value that I think is really cool. And the Beatles. Love the Beatles. I know that's not stand up, but or even comedy, but
Interesting.
oh, and South Park. Well, Family Guy I grew up on. South Park I took later in my life did I get into it, but Matt Stone and Trey Parker are very, very talented.
Totally. And I can't remember where I saw it, but I mean, I don't even need to recall that. They've been on for so long, churning out episode after episode after episode after episode, just foreshadowing like The Simpsons used to do. Now it's South Park foreshadowing all these events
Oh,
and just the societal commentary and just the quantity and the quality that they've churned out work is profound. Are you a Carlin guy? Do you like Carlin at all?
I used to like him more when I was younger. I haven't watched him a lot recently. It's funny. My one friend used to be like, "Ah, I hate Carlin," and now he likes him more than I do. But I do like, obviously, like respect the hell out of him, and I used to like him a lot. I just haven't really watched him as of recently. I gotta check him out again. Why,
Uh,
you like Carlin? You seem like you definitely like Carlin.
I'm a big Carlin guy, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I am in this I'm in the boat where like as soon as COVID happened and like all this stuff and like we don't need to get political, but just everything that's happening now,
Right.
like you just man, like if you wish for one person to come back
Of course,
to
yeah, yeah. He
life,
would.
and oh man, he would have a field day. The content, he would have 1 trillion followers on TikTok.
Yeah, I wonder if he'd have like a podcast or something.
That's a good question. I would hope so. Or daily. I could see him doing like one of these uh like 2 to 6 minute like daily Twitter videos.
That would be.
Like
I'd rather see him do like a Bill Burr style. Like I think he does it no video. He'll just like talk like audio only and like give people advice, or he'll like do societal commentary too. But do you watch Bill Burr at all?
I don't if he has like a Netflix special, I'll watch it. I don't follow him enough on any of his
Definitely check him out.
socials. I love him. I think he's probably the closest thing to Carlin we have it now.
Yeah, yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, especially his podcast stuff is good too. It's sometimes he does like society commentary, but he'll also just give advice to like individual people who write in, and it's usually pretty good.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, when it comes time, I'm in a season where this doesn't happen often, but if it's time to like sit on the couch with the wife, like watch a show or a movie or a doc, like if it's really my choice, authentically my choice, I'm gonna go to a stand-up special every time because that's
Interesting.
I just get the most enjoyment out of that.
Who have you watched recently that you like?
Who have I watched recently? I watched the Andrew Schultz because
Okay, great.
going to VeeCon, everyone was like, "Oh, Andrew Schultz, Andrew Schultz, Andrew Schultz," and I was like, "I have no idea who this guy is." So he crushed it at VeeCon, I think. So
Yeah, he
I
did.
got back and yeah, caught up on that stuff. So you were you able to watch?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Did you I don't remember. Did any of the jokes he did at VCon? None were in the special, right? I don't think so.
I don't. Not I remember. And I thought like it's a very interesting demographic of people that were in that stadium that night, and to be himself and to just totally push that line within that like VeeFriends, like everything is great, kindness, like positivity audience. I thought that was extra, like the cherry on top. Like
Yeah, no,
I wonder if that was a real challenge for him.
he certainly didn't make it look like it. He
Right.
uh he was like very much commanding the stage, and it was cool to see. It's something that I was like, oh damn, it makes you realize how far behind you are when you're aspiring to do something like that. I'm like, damn, but it was cool.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone's got their own journey. I mean, he definitely was a real pro. Like just everything. I think
Did
10 out
anybody
of 10,
dislike it?
10 out of
No.
10. I think. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. I don't. Did anybody in the V crowd dislike it, or it seemed like everybody was laughing?
There was, I think everyone was laughing. There was like a couple things. I have a pretty good pulse. There was a couple of pushback tweets.
Okay.
I think the next day. but more specifically about just the VTards,
Right, right.
which was one
Whatever.
of
That's
the great sound bites. But you're always going to get. I mean, it's 2023. If you get
yeah.
one or two people to push back, that I think that's a win, especially in that
I,
business.
I was about to say it's inevitable, and it's like a sign that it was probably worth it.
Right. But I mean, if to incorporate Gary V and everything he's doing in a 9/11 joke is a true work of art.
Yeah, I know. I like
And I mean that in the best possible way.
The Tom Brady joke had to be one of my favorites from his set too. That one was really
Right.
good.
Yeah, he that was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But to go back to you, like I genuinely like when I saw you at VeeCon, I was like just like anybody else, like that's a speaker. I was like, "Oh shit, that's Sean." And I had that like point 0.5 seconds of like fanboying because I truly think like all your shit is really gold, man. Like
That's
so
cool.
keep at it, man. And it's like I think the only thing that separates you from him is just reps and tasting and trial and error kind of stuff.
Damn, that means a lot. I appreciate that. It's cool that you thought that because I feel very much just an audience member when I'm there. So
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely keep up with it. Do you get a chance, like speaking of that audience member, like this whole podcast is having conversations with the VeeFriends community, people on both sides of the fence, whether they're in the Vayner vortex or just VeeFriends holders or whatever, or people in the community. What is your, you've had two VCons now. You work with a lot of people that I'm sure are in tune. Curious your take on just the community and what you see in it as far as the people and them embodying the traits of the characters or what Gary stands for. I'll let you take that and run with it however you want to.
sure. I mean, everybody I've met so far, it's a diverse crowd, but everybody's super nice. Like I'm bumping into people accidentally trying to film, and anywhere else in like concerts, whatever, they'd be dicks, and they'd be like, "What the hell?" But everybody's super understanding, kind. You could talk to anybody you want to. So I definitely think that it was a pretty warm crowd. I didn't get to talk to too many people because I was kind of like making content, but everybody I did have to interact with was pretty cool. And it just seems like Gary cultivates a pretty good fan base. That's what I'd say.
I love it. And real quick, you mentioned how you pivoted. You're not at 137 anymore in the content creation department, but now you're at the pack. So tell us about your new position.
Yeah, it's called Platforms and Culture. Gary's been talking about it a little bit on social media, but it's basically like a team of people that like kind of look out for signals and stuff on social media, and then are helping tick brands to see those signals and then turn them into content. And it's kind of like consulting strategy for social media for like brands and stuff.
So give us a little of the alpha. What smoke signals are you seeing right now?
It's a signal I did yesterday. I filled this out yesterday, and I'm trying to think of a good one for you here. I guess
Not the Bill
fly on
Hader
the.
thing.
What's that?
Not the Bill Hader thing.
Why? What's that?
Oh, you know the thing where he's dancing. It's that audio
It's
that
less
audio
that,
clip.
although that could work. One was like fly on the wall content, which is like it's like a video where it seems like it's real, but then you realize it's like a scripted, like it's a joke. So it's like a guy filming his Uber driver, and then by the end you're like, okay, obviously that wasn't real. Like it's like from the back seat, he's filming. So
Mm.
that's one style of content that is pretty engaging because it like hooks people right away, and that is one of the things I've been like talking about a lot.
That sounds really neat. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool. It feels more of like an adult job, which I think I needed. The structure is good and stuff, so I've definitely been making the most of it.
Amazing. So you have a pretty good pulse on the characters, I would say. What character do you think Sean needs to spend more time with?
Which one do I need to spend more time with? That's a good question.
As
What do
far
I
as
need?
through osmosis, you need to embody more of whatever they're putting out into the world.
Let me think here. I'm gonna say, what does dapper mean?
Dapper means like proper, like well dressed,
I
Like
could dress better. Maybe I should spend more time with Dapper Dashoon. He's not dressed super nice. That's why I'm like confused. But
the
I do
long
think
dog.
I should be more dapper. So I'm gonna say Dapper Dashoon. Plus, I like dogs, so I would
I
like to
love
hang out
it.
with a dog.
I have two dachshunds.
Oh,
Doxies, we
really?
call
Okay.
them.
Are
Yeah.
they dapper?
One actually, no, they're terrible, but the
Nice.
best. But the best. Amazing. I'm gonna pivot into our last little segment here, but I can't thank you enough. This has been so cool
Sure.
to be able to jam with you, of course. And I'm totally gonna link anything up in the show notes here and make sure people get links to all the content we talked about and to Sean Friends, of course. Is there
Hell yeah.
anything else you want to talk about, to announce, shows
Uh,
maybe in the near future? I don't know. I'm giving
Nothing
you the
really.
floor.
Just give me a follow on Instagram, I guess. Sean Millea, Millea, and say hello or something. That's
Oh,
all I
it's
need.
Malay. I was saying Malaya.
That's all right.
Big
Everybody,
L. Big L.
there's not really that many places to figure out where to say it, so I don't hold it against you. You could say it however you want. But fish, like fish fillet, Malay.
Okay, there you go. Maybe there's a joke in there somewhere.
Maybe. Oh, that's a good idea. I'll think about that.
Do you ever take the Seinfeld like observational approach?
I mean, maybe unintentionally, but at this point, it's just like when funny things occur to me, I write them down and then I'll try and write them later. But it's not so much like me being like, oh, I'm going to observe this like Seinfeld would. Although that would probably be a fun exercise to try. In film school, that's like spec scripts, is like when you write a script for a show that already exists. So like
Yeah.
a spec joke, I guess, could be kind of cool.
I may somewhere I have a notepad of joke ideas. They're all probably terrible, but if I ever do that,
Clear
maybe
them up.
I'll share them and you can recycle them maybe into something. All right,
Or you can try them.
so we're gonna get into something called micro macro Spitfire. I'm gonna fire a lot of quick questions at you. You can go totally general, yes, no, one word answers, macro, or you can get your microscope out and elaborate as much as you want.
Okay.
All right. Who I'm gonna open this first one up. Who is someone that needs to be followed on TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter right now?
Joe Routh, Rauth. He's just funny, and I binge his content all the time. I think it's addicting.
What was your first NFT?
I think a VV thing, like a Powerpuff Girl or a Mooncat, one or the other, but I'm pretty sure it was a VV thing.
What artist, influencer, brand right now, if they started a digital token or an NFT, you would drop everything and get in there right now?
I mean, the Beatles, but I probably still wouldn't just because two of them are not alive. But or maybe Bo Burnham or Childish Gambino, because I'd be like, oh, if you guys are doing it, let me see, let me get one because I like them as artists and whatever. Not that I wouldn't buy other people's, but it's just a headache to buy one. I'm like, I gotta like get gas fees and all this stuff, so I gotta figure out how to do it again. But yeah, that's it.
Favorite teacher you had growing up and one reason why?
There's too many good ones to say a favorite. So, oh, Mr. Cuts in eighth grade. He was really cool. He was just like a smart guy, and I remember we got along with him really well.
A secret talent you have that most people don't know you have.
I can do this with my eye.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty good.
Now,
Thanks.
now the word's out. VeeCon 2024 will be in what city?
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully, like Miami or Vegas or something, but I don't think so.
If something happened where you were only legally allowed to have one social media platform on your phone, which one would you keep?
Only one. YouTube, for sure, because it's like the encyclopedia of video.
I love that. Bushi Hotel or hiking and camping in the woods?
I want to say hiking, but I might get there and be like, this sucks. But I'm going to say hiking for right now.
Comedy Central or Nickelodeon?
Comedy Central at South Park, so I'm going to say them.
Wine, beer, or coffee?
Oh, coffee.
Favorite concert you've ever been to?
Green Day.
Nice. Where was that? In the city?
That was Jersey. And I was like, or that, yeah, whatever, what is it?
Yep.
MetLife is the Jet Stadium? Yeah, that's where. But I was like a kid.
Nice. They've been on my list. I've never seen them.
It was really good.
Gratitude Gorilla or Patient Pig?
Patient Pig.
Would you rather have a 2 hour group dinner with Gary, so you and 9 other people for 2 hours, or a 10-minute one-on-one?
How many people are in the group?
You and 9 others.
Oh, 9 others. And where am I sitting at the table?
That's a good question. Let's say you're fifth. Let's throw out the number five there. You're fifth, so you're
All right, I'll go with the dinner.
okay. And you are a little different because you've had some context with him. But if you could ask Gary one question and he had to answer it honestly, what would it be?
How does AI intimidate you at all? Because I hate AI.
I love it. Sean Millea, everybody, please watch the links that I'm gonna. If you've gotten this far, watch a little bit more. Watch all these links. Follow Sean on all the platforms because he's an up and coming legend. Sean, such a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, bud.
And we will talk soon.
Hell yeah,
Any
thanks for having me. And thanks for
anytime.
watching, everybody.